Greetings to all. Welcome back to online class. Today, history lesson 1. I'm going to take history lesson 1. The title of the lesson is Outbreak of World War I and its aftermath. Okay, Outbreak of World War I and its aftermath. Aftermath, that is effects. Effects. Okay, so First World War and its effects we are going to learn. Okay, the year 1914, beginning of the First World War 1914 and the end of the First World War 1918. That is timeline. The year 1914 is a turning point in world history. Okay, turning point in world history, the year 1914. The political processes and social processes that began in the year 1789. Okay, political processes and social process began in the year 1789. That is the time of the French Revolution. French Revolution 1789 paved the way for the First World War. Okay, paved the way for the First World War. That is the political processes and social processes which began in the year 1789 paved the way for the First World War. Okay, the First World War which broke out in the year 1914 changed the course of 20th century even. Okay, changed the course of 20th century even. So historians call this as the long 19th century. Long 19th century. The First World War was the first industrial war. So one more question. Okay, one more question. The First World War was the first industrial war that drew on the economic resources of the entire world. Okay, that drew on the economic resources of the entire whole world. It affected large sections of civilian population, citizens. Okay, affected the large sections of the civilian population. The important thing is that the political map of the world was redrawn. Now think about the First World War. Okay, the important thing is the political map of the world was redrawn. Three major empires suffered a lot by the end of the war. Okay, three major empires suffered a lot by the end of the war. First one Germany, second one Austria-Hungary, and the third one Ottomans, that is Turkish Empire. Ottomans means Turkish Empire. So first one Germany, second one Austria-Hungary, and third one Ottomans, Turkish people, Turks. Okay. Next, the biggest outcome of the war was the Russian Revolution. Very important one word question. Okay, biggest outcome of the World War, that is First World War, was the Russian Revolution. Okay, one more question. This Russian Revolution was a unique event, and it was the first revolution of its kind in the world history. Like this, the same first revolution, that is Russian Revolution, that only like that. Okay, like that. For the first time, the countries tried to bring about world peace. For the first time, the countries tried to bring about world peace through the League of Nations. Through the League of Nations. In this lesson, we are going to learn the circumstances, the causes, okay, leading to the outbreak of the First World War. Leading to the outbreak of the First World War and its results, particularly formation of an international peace organization, that is the League of Nations. Okay, formation of an international peace organization, that is the League of Nations. First of all, scramble for colonies. Scramble means competition for colonies. Capitalist countries race for colonies. Next heading, capitalist countries race for colonies. The aim of a capitalist industry was to produce more and more. Production should be increased. The surplus wealth was used to build more factories, railways, steamships, and other purposes. Okay, what's the use of the surplus wealth? It was used to build more factories, railways, steamships, and other purposes. In the later half of the 19th century, communication and transportation developed. Later half of the 19th century, communication developed and transportation also developed. This paved the way for the European expansion in Africa and other places. Because of the development of communication and transportation, it is a chance for the Europeans to expand their colonies, expand their territories. The important feature of the 19th century was that Europe emerged as a dominant power, but Asia and Africa were colonized and exploited. Europe, Asia, Africa continents only, but Europe emerged as a dominant power. Asia and Africa were colonized and exploited. Within the European continent, England became preeminent position. One word question. Within the European continent, England became a preeminent position. Okay. It became the world leader of capitalism. This is another one word. Next one word question. It became the world leader of capitalism. Demand for markets and raw materials growing nicely. Okay. Demand for markets and raw materials growing. So the capitalist power raised around the world and tried to expand their empire for exploitation. Okay, so the capitalist powers raised around the world and tried to expand their empire for exploitation. So from this what we can understand, they are expanding their empire for the purpose of exploitation only. Is it clear? Okay, next. Rise of monopoly capitalism. Rise of monopoly capitalism. Here monopoly means exclusive control. Exclusive control. Industry and finance became the essential characteristics of imperialism. One more question. Industry and finance became the essential characteristics of imperialism. After 1870, the alliance of industry and finance searching profits in the markets for goods and capital. Okay, after 1870, the alliance of industry and finance searching profits in the markets for goods and capital. This was an evident in the later half of the 19th century. The old ideas of free trade collapsed. There were trusts in USA and cartels in Germany. There were trusts, TRUSTS, trusts in USA and cartels, CARTELS, cartels in Germany. Now we will see what is trust and what is cartels. Okay, a trust is an industrial organization engaged in production or distribution of any commodity. This trust has adequate control over the supply and the price of that commodity. A trust is an industrial organization engaged in the production or distribution of any commodity. This trust has adequate control over the supply and the price of that commodity. Next, cartel. Okay, cartels in Germany, cartel is an association. Cartel is an association based upon a contractual agreement between enterprises in the same field of business. So, cartel is an association based upon a contractual agreement between enterprises in the same field of business. Okay, so trust and cartels. That over. Next, imperialism and its essential characteristics. Imperialism and its essential characteristics. Capitalism led to imperialism. Capitalism led to imperialism. Lenin said, imperialism is the highest stage of capitalism. Imperialism is the highest stage of capitalism. The colonies were not only considered as market for the surplus goods, but also served as other purposes. Imperialism was not just about the colonies, it became a total system. Its logic was total militarization and total war. Okay, its logic was total militarization and total war. I said Lenin said imperialism is the highest stage of capitalism. Just little about Lenin now. Lenin was born in 1870 near the Middle Volga to educated parents. He was influenced by the ideas of Karl Marx. He believed that the way of freedom was through mass action. Lenin gained the support of small majority. They were called Bolsheviks. Small majority, those who supported Lenin, were called by Bolsheviks. His opponents in minority, they were called Mensheviks. His opponents were Mensheviks and his supporters were called as Bolsheviks. Okay, he said imperialism is the highest stage of capitalism. Next, rivalry of great powers. First of all, European continent. In the 19th century, the European powers had colonized many other countries. All these countries, they came under the control of this European continent. By the year 1880, most of the Asian countries became the colonies of Europe. Africa only was left. But in between 1881 to 1914, Africa was also captured and divided and made it as colonies. That is, Africa was made it colonies. One of the colonies, almost all the African countries were considered and treated as colonies. After the year 1870, England, France, Belgium, Italy, Germany joined in the scramble for colonies. Okay, after the year 1870, England, France, Belgium, Italy and Germany joined in the scramble for colonies. Here is the world map. You can see some important countries. See the left side, Canada. Come to the middle part, Austria-Hungary. Come down, Belgium. Next, Great Britain, Germany, France, Italy, Morocco. Okay, and down if you are seeing this is African continent. Before that is Greece, Turkey, Serbia, Bosnia. And come little right, you can see Russia. Down our country, India. We are Indians. And Japan is there. And if you are coming down, Australia. And little bit if you are coming down, you can see New Zealand. These are the important countries which and all participated in World War I. Okay, World War I. Next we will see clashes among great powers. England was leading in industrial growth. And England controlled a vast empire. Yet, England was not satisfied. Okay, it was leading in industrial growth and it controlled a vast empire, yet England was not satisfied. It was in competition with Germany and United States. Because Germany and United States were producing cheaper manufactured goods. Okay, cheaper manufactured goods and capturing England's markets also. Producing cheaper manufactured goods and capturing England's markets. National rivalry led to frequent clashes. Often clashes started between these great powers in Asia, Africa and Europe. Asia, Africa and Europe. Next, Asia, rise of Japan. Okay, rise of Japan. Japan was one of the Asian countries. Japan in this period, that is Meiji era. Meiji era from 1867 to 1912. Meiji era in Japan 1867 to 1912. Following Western nations and became equal in many respects. And equal in many respects. Respects here departments. The rulers still followed feudalism. The rulers still followed feudalism. Japan accepted Western education and machinery. Western education and machinery. Machinery here means Tozhilnutpam. Okay, not machines. With the modern army and navy, Japan had emerged as an advanced industrialized power. Okay, with the help of modern army and navy, Japan had emerged as an advanced industrialized power. In the year 1894, Japan forged a war on China. This is known as Sino-Japanese War. Okay, so Sino-Japanese War 1894. In this Sino-Japanese War, little Japan defeated China. Okay, little Japan, small in size, defeated China. This surprised the whole world. Because of this, the whole world surprised. The success of Japan was not liked by great powers. Okay, the success of Japan was not liked by great powers. Despite the warning of three great powers, that is Russia, Germany and France. Okay, Russia, Germany and France gave warning to Japan. But Japan didn't accept that one. Okay, Japan annexed the Liaotong Peninsula. Liaotong Peninsula, that is in China. With the port order, that is the deep water port. Deep water port, that is actually that is in China, but it was called as Lucian. And when William Arthur, when he was there and he gave a name, so in memory of his name, that was called as Port Arthur. By this action, Japan proved that it was the strongest nation of East Asia. Okay, after annexing Liaotong Peninsula with Port Arthur, Japan proved that it was the strongest nation of East Asia. Okay. Next, because of the pressure given by the European powers, Japan gave up its claim over Port Arthur. Okay. Because of the pressure given by the European powers, Japan gave up its claim over Port Arthur. Russia took advantage of this and sent a large army to Manchuria. Manchuria, that is in China. Okay, that is in China. Russia took advantage of this and sent a large army to Manchuria, that is in China. Okay, now in the year 1902, a treaty was signed between England and Japan. Treaty was signed between England and Japan and demanded that Russia withdraw troops from Manchuria. Russia should withdraw the troops from Manchuria. But Russia underestimated Japan. In the year 1904, a war started between Russia and Japan. Okay, it is known as Russo-Japanese War. It is known as Russo-Japanese War. In this war, Japan defeated Russia and got back Port Arthur. Okay, got back Port Arthur. After this war, Japan entered the circle of great powers. Japan entered the circle of great powers. Next, strong armed diplomacy, ARM, armed diplomacy of Japan. After 1905, Japan took the control of Korea. Okay, took the control of Korea's domestic policy and foreign policy. After 1905, Japan took the control of Korea's domestic policy and foreign policy. One important Japanese ambassador was killed. Okay, one important Japanese ambassador was killed by a Korean. So Japan annexed Korea in 1910. In the year 1912, Japan annexed Korea in the year 1910. That's one more question. In the year 1912, the Manchu dynasty fell down in China. 1912, the Manchu dynasty fell down in China, and confusion started in China. Okay, confusion started in China after the falling down of Manchu dynasty in China. These incidents provided Japan an opportunity for further expansion. Okay, further expansion. Japan demanded the transfer of German rights in Shandong Peninsula. Okay, Japan demanded the transfer of German rights in Shandong Peninsula, that is China. Okay, Shandong Peninsula to Japan. That is, Germany had certain rights in Shandong Peninsula. That rights should be transferred to Japan. Okay, and the recognition of Japanese hold over Manchuria. And it is asking the recognition of Japanese hold over Manchuria. This strong armed diplomacy of Japan created hostility of both China and the European powers. Okay, strong armed diplomacy of Japan created hostility of both China and the European powers. Next, colonization and its fallout. Colonization and its fallout. In the year 1876, only 10% of Africa was under European rule. By 1900, practically the whole of Africa was colonized. Okay, Britain, France and Belgium had divided the African continent between them. See the pitiable condition. Okay, Britain, France and Belgium had divided the African continent between them. Few areas were given to Germany and Italy. Few areas were given to Germany and Italy. Britain, France, Russia, Germany established spheres of influence in China. Okay, you have to refer these countries in the map. Already map showed, no? You can refer that also. Britain, France, Russia, Germany established spheres of influence in China. That is Selvaku Mandalangal, spheres of influence. Japan took over Korea and Taiwan. Okay. France conquered Indochina. US took Philippines from Spain. Okay. Philippines was under the control of Spain. Now US took Philippines from Spain. Okay. Japan took over Korea and Taiwan. France captured Indochina. US took Philippines from Spain. Britain and Russia agreed to divide Iran. Okay, Britain and Russia agreed to divide Iran. Iran should be divided into two, and one part was under Britain and another under Russia. Okay, the first European attempts to establish colonies in Africa resulted bloody battles. First European attempts. They tried to establish colonies in Africa. Because of that, bloody battles occurred. Bloody battles occurred. So, pitiable condition was there. The people also suffered a lot. Okay, people also suffered a lot because of these battles. France had a fight a long and bitter war to conquer Algeria and Senegal. France had to fight a long and bitter war to conquer Algeria and Senegal. Britain was defeated in 1879 by the Zulus. Zulus, nothing but one set of people. So, Britain was defeated in the year 1879 by the Zulus. Again, Britain was defeated in the year 1884 also by the army of Sudan. By the army of Sudan. The Italian army suffered a lot from the hands of Ethiopian army. Italian army suffered a lot from Ethiopian army. at the Battle of Adova. Adova is a town in Ethiopia. Okay, so Battle of Adova in the year 1896. Battle of Adova in the year 1896. Causes, goals and results of the World War. Causes, goals and results of World War I. First of all, causes. First one, European alliances and counter alliances. European alliances and counter alliances. Counter means எதிர் அணி சேர்க்கை. In the year 1900, 5 of the European great powers were divided into two armed camps. In the year 1900, 5 of the European great powers were divided into two armed camps, ARMAD. First one, Central Powers, second one, Allied Powers. First one, Central Powers, second one, Allied Powers. The Central Powers consisted Germany, Austria-Hungary, Italy. Germany, Austria-Hungary and Italy. Under the guidance of Bismarck, they had formed Triple Alliance in 1882. So here is the 1 mark question, formation of Triple Alliance in the year 1882. Okay. The understanding was that Germany and Austria would help each other. Okay. Germany and Austria would help each other. Second one is the Allied Powers. No, the Allied Powers is the second camp. It consisted of France and Russia, first of all. France and Russia. Their alliance was formed in 1894. So, Triple Alliance, 1894. With the promise of mutual help if Germany attacked either of them. Okay. With the promise, what is the promise? Mutual help if Germany attacked either of them. Thus, Britain was isolated. An isolated Britain wanted to break her isolation. Okay, So, it approached Germany two times. But in vain, Germany didn't accept. Russia and Japan became bitter enemies because of the Russo-Japanese War of 1904. Okay, Russia and Japan became bitter enemies because of the Russo-Japanese War of 1904. Russo-Japanese War 1904, that is 1 mark question that we know. Now the hostility of Japan was increasing towards Russia and France was the ally, that is a friend of Russia. So Japan decided to join with Britain in 1902. The Anglo-Japanese alliance induced France to make an alliance with Britain to solve colonial disputes over Morocco and Egypt. Anglo-Japanese alliance induced France to make an alliance with Britain for what? To solve colonial disputes over Morocco and Egypt. This resulted in the Entente Cordial in 1904. That is because of that, the Entente Cordial was formed in the year 1904. Here is another 1 mark question. That is, both the countries became friends. France was allowed to have a free hand in Morocco. So, France agreed to recognize the British occupation of Egypt. Again, Britain signed an agreement with Russia. Over Persia, Afghanistan and Tibet. Thus, the Triple Entente of Britain, France and Russia was formed in 1907. Okay, Triple Entente of Britain, France and Russia was formed in 1907. Already we know Triple Alliance was formed in the year 1882. Italy, Germany and Austria-Hungary. Here Triple Entente was formed in the year 1907. Britain, France and Russia. Both are important. Next, violent forms of nationalism. violent forms of nationalism. With the growth of nationalism, the attitude of my country, right or wrong, I support it, developed. See, my country, right or wrong, I support it. That tendency developed. That is, எனது நாடு சரியோ தவறோ நான் அதை ஆதரிப்பேன். That condition growing. The love for one country demanded hatred for another country. The love for one country demanded hatred for another country. England's jingoism. England followed jingoism. France's Chauvinism. Jingoism, Jingoism. Chauvinism, Chauvinism. And Germany's culture, Kultur. These militant forms of nationalism. These are called as militant forms of nationalism. These militant forms of nationalism paved the way for the First World War. Okay, so England's jingoism, France's Chauvinism, and Germany's culture were the militant forms of nationalism. What are the militant forms of nationalism? Jingoism, Chauvinism, culture. England, France, Germany. Okay. Next, aggressive attitude of German emperor. Aggressive attitude of German emperor. Emperor Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany proclaimed that Germany would be the leader of the world. Okay. Germany would be the leader of the world. Like that, it was announced by Emperor Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany. The German Navy was expanded. In the year 1805, Napoleon was defeated in the Battle of Trafalgar. Trafalgar is a place in Spain. Napoleon, he was the political and military leader of France. Okay. After that, sea was considered a preserve of England. That is related to England only, the sea, like that. Okay, in 1805, Napoleon was defeated in the Battle of Trafalgar. It's an important one word, you can learn. After that, the sea was considered a preserve of England. Germany's aggressive diplomacy and rapid building of naval bases. Aggressive diplomacy of Germany and rapid building of naval bases convinced Britain that a German navy could be directed against Britain. German navy could be directed against Britain. So Britain also tried to build its naval base, and it increased tension between Britain and Germany. Okay, Britain also tried to build its naval base, and it increased tension between Britain and also Germany. Britain and also Germany. Next, hostility of France towards Germany. Hostility of France towards Germany. France and Germany were old rivals because in the year 1871, France was defeated by Germany and Germany captured Alsace and Lorraine from France. Alsace and Lorraine, that is related to France. Both that areas were captured by Germany. German interference in Morocco added bitterness. Germany's interference in Morocco added bitterness. The British agreement with France over Morocco was not liked by Germany. So, Kaiser William recognized the independence of Morocco Sultan. Independence of the Morocco Sultan. He demanded an international conference to decide on the future of Morocco. So, one international conference need for what? To decide the future of Morocco. Next, imperial power politics in the Balkans. Imperial power politics in the Balkans. The Young Turk Revolution was started in Turkey in 1908. Important one word. Young Turk Revolution was started in Turkey in 1908. It was an attempt to create a strong and modern government in Turkey. Strong and modern government in Turkey. Because of that, this revolution, because of this revolution, both Austria and Russia got an opportunity to resume their activities in the Balkans. Okay, Austria and Russia got an opportunity to resume their activities in the Balkans. Austria and Russia met. Austria and Russia met and agreed that Austria should annex Bosnia and Herzegovina, Balkan country, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Balkan country. And Russia should have freedom to move her warships through Dardanelles Strait, okay, and Bosporus, Turkey. Dardanelles and Bosporus, that is both are in Turkey. See one more time. Austria and Russia met and agreed that Austria should annex Bosnia and Herzegovina, okay, Balkan countries, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Balkan country. And Russia should have freedom to move her warships. So Russia's warships, it can move through Dardanelles Strait and Bosporus Strait, okay, both are in Turkey, to the Mediterranean region. Austria announced the annexation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. But this was opposed by Serbia. Germany supported Austria. Germany promised that when Austria invaded Serbia, Germany would help Austria. If Russia helped Serbia, okay, Germany promised that when Austria invaded Serbia, Germany would help Austria if Russia helped Serbia. Okay, thus the enmity developed between Austria and Serbia, and this enmity led to the outbreak of the First World War in 1914. Next, Balkan Wars. Turkey was a powerful country in the southwest of Europe in the first half of the 18th century. The Ottoman Turkish Empire extended over the Balkans and Poland. This Turkish Empire had many non-Turkish people in the Balkans. Both Turks and other subjects in the Balkans, okay, both the Turkish people and other subjects in the Balkan countries indulged in massacres and atrocities. Example, Armenian genocide, Padugolai. Genocide means Padugolai. Utilizing the political and economic instability of the Turkish Empire, Greece and other countries began to secede from Turkish control. Macedonia had a mixed population. There were rivalries among Greece, Serbia, Bulgaria and Montenegro for the control of Macedonia. There were rivalries among Greece, Serbia, Bulgaria and Montenegro for the control of Macedonia. Here is the map. You can see Italy, okay, Slovenia, then Austria-Hungary, Romania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia, Albania, Bulgaria, Greece, Turkey, Mediterranean Sea. Okay, all these regions you can see in this map. Okay, next, in March 1912 they formed the Balkan League. So Greece, Serbia, Bulgaria, Montenegro became the members of the Balkan League. So the Balkan League was formed in the year 1912. The League attacked and defeated Turkish forces in the First Balkan War, that is in the year 1912 to 1913. Okay, so First Balkan War. In 1913, Treaty of London was signed. Here is another one-word question. According to the treaty, the new state of Albania was created. Okay, 1912, First Balkan War, and the Balkan War came to an end by the Treaty of London. According to that treaty, the new state of Albania was created. Other Balkan states divided up Macedonia between them. Okay, so Macedonia was divided, and Turkey was reduced to the area around Constantinople. Around Constantinople, like that much only. Turkey was reduced to that much. The division of Macedonia did not satisfy Bulgaria. Did not satisfy Bulgaria. Bulgaria attacked Serbia and Greece. Bulgaria attacked Serbia and Greece. Why? The division of Macedonia was not liked by this Bulgaria. That's the reason. But Bulgaria was easily defeated. This is known as the Second Balkan War. So, Second Balkan Okay, this is known as Second Balkan War. This war entered with the signing of the Treaty of Bucharest in August 1913. Okay, so Second Balkan War ended with the signing of the Treaty of Bucharest. So Bucharest Treaty. By the Bucharest Treaty, which was signed in the year 1913, the Second Balkan War came to an end. Next, the last cause, but not the least one, is immediate cause. Immediate cause. The climax to these events in the Balkans occurred in Sarajevo in Bosnia. Okay, climax of the events in the Balkans, where it was, that is Sarajevo in Bosnia. On 28th June 1914, 28th June 1914, Archduke Francis Ferdinand, the Emperor of Austria-Hungary, he was assassinated by a Bosnian Serb. Austria utilized this opportunity to eliminate Serbia as an independent state. Germany got a rumor that Russia was collecting troops to help Serbia. So Germany thought that it should strike first. Germany declared war on Russia on 1st August. Germany had no quarrel with France. But because of the Franco-Russian alliance, Germany was planning a war against both France and Russia. The German violation of Belgian neutrality. Forced Britain to enter the First World War. So this is the immediate cause, this is the last cause. Anyhow, the First World War started in the year 1914 and it came to an end in the year 1918. After that, in order to maintain peace in the world, the League of Phoenicians was started. That we will see in the next class. Before that, the causes, what are the important causes? First one, European alliances and counter alliances. Second one, violent forms of nationalism. Third one, aggressive attitude of German emperor. And fourth one, hostility of France towards Germany. And the fifth one, imperial power politics in the Balkans. And the Balkan Wars and immediate cause. The assassination of Archduke Francis Ferdinand. Okay, these are the important causes. And with this, I finish today's session and I'll meet you in the next session with the next topic, that is next part of this lesson, goals of the war. In this goals of the war, we are going to see two warring camps, Central Powers and Allies, and Tsar's abortive attempts for peace. War in Western or French front. Battle of Tannenberg and Marne. Battle of Verdun. War in Eastern Russian front. Minor theaters of war in the Middle East. In the Far East. In the Balkans. Fate of colonies of Germany in Africa. Italy falls to Austrian onslaught. Central Powers victories. Okay, all these things we will see in the next class, children. Thank you. Bye. Take care.